Remarketing ads are one of the most misunderstood and misutilized ad formats of all time. And unfortunately, because of that, Linda, people think they don't work, but that's not the case. So I'm joined today with my co-host, Linda. Linda, thanks for being here. I'm excited about today's topic.
Me too, Mo. It's good to be here.
So before we started this, you started talking about this topic and why it doesn't work. And why do you think that's the case? Why are remarketing ads, people either love them or hate them? And where do you think that comes from?
It's a good question. So I think there's a few reasons why they often don't work, or when we jump into an account, we see that they didn't work in the past.
Yeah. Linda, what clients will say is we tried it, it doesn't work. They've sworn off them sometimes.
Yeah. And usually it's just too broad. Across the board, it's just too broad.
Yeah.
So when you look at targeting, for example, usually people will think, okay, remarketing, I'm just going to use a pixel. Everybody that's been on my website in the last 30, 60, 90 days, usually it's longer than that because maybe they don't have enough website visitors, so they need a bigger pool, but they'll just go and target everybody that's been on the website.
Yeah.
So typically targeting is just too broad to start with. And you can do things to fix that depending on, like I say, how many users you have on your site is the luxury of how targeted you can get with a remarketing ad set. But there are ways around it. But focus on, for example, people that have just been on bottom of funnel pages on your website. So people that are looking at your pricing pages, your service pages, maybe your about us, that sort of thing. So think about targeting specific page views. Also, you can target things like how long people have been on your site for.
Yeah.
So don't target people that jump on and jump off straight away. People that have had a decent amount of time, a few minutes searching your website and browsing content.
For sure.
So you can tighten up the targeting parameters in that way. And that already is a great start as opposed to a lot of companies, which just target everybody who's been on your site.
And we will give people, so these are great ideas already. We'll give people a cheat sheet on the actual 4 types of ads, specifics. You cannot go wrong. These are dummy proof. But going back to your point there, Linda, I feel like what happens, they treat it as a set and forget. Which is, if you say it out loud, it's really scary, right? Someone will, okay, we're going to put a logo and we're going to put a really nice tagline that, hey, we've all been there. I've done it too, right? So if you're listening, don't be offended. I've done this too. We think it's so smart. We'll come up with a tagline or the great at ... or customer centric BS, whatever. There's a logo, there's a tagline, a different size, and that's it. And it's just set and forget. So not only are you're absolutely right, they are doing it broad for everything. It's just a logo. And look, you know what? Funnily enough, Linda, those can still actually convert.
Yeah.
Despite being so bad.
Just the little reminder is enough sometimes.
Because you're there. It can actually convert, but we want to do better than that. And remarketing. So if you're in that camp of we've tried it, it doesn't work, I'm really sorry to say they do work. You're just not doing them right. And hofully by the end of this episode, you'll be convinced, okay, cool, there are some things we can experiment with. So you mentioned too broad. Any other problems that we sort of often see with remarketing?
So that's even too broad from a pixel point of view on your website. Sometimes as well, you can do remarketing when it comes to previous ads that you've run. So looking at things like how long people have viewed your previous video for, you can then remarket to those people that have maybe viewed over 75% of a video ad that you had, or, they've clicked and engaged in some way. So I think, being a little bit more creative with, okay, what's the objective first, but then narrowing down your targeting to be able to hit people that are at the right awareness stage. I think that's the important thing with remarketing. You want to hit people that are actively deep in the buying journey.
Yeah.
Or at least stay away from the top of funnel, people that just click on your website, click off, but more middle, bottom of funnel.
Yeah, exactly. So I think one of the challenges and, just trying to think of some of the pushbacks that people might be having when they hear that, oh, well, Linda, I don't have enough visitors. And you know what, to be honest, the 4 types we're going to share, it actually doesn't really matter. And I do understand, we do a lot of B2B. We do a lot of work with long buying cycle businesses, not only B2B, education as well. But some of the industries, they don't have a lot of volume. So they'll say, oh, look, well, Linda, I only have 2,000 visitors on my website. That particular service page only has 300.
Yeah. Sometimes what you can do in that scenario, your website traffic is one thing, but then you can kind of move away from that. Something that we did many years ago is, not many years ago, but there's one client in particular, is we just built out a full funnel campaign on their ads anyway. So just serve a more top of funnel type ad that's more about like problem solution.
Yeah.
So for the person that's like maybe problem aware or solution aware, but they don't know you exist. So focus on that first, and then the engagement that you get from that, you can remarket to those people. Once you get a big enough customer set, you can add that into a list and then remarket using the ads that we're going to show you in this episode.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get off of that, so to give a quick example of problem aware, solution aware, because I think it's such a good point, Linda, that people don't think about. So say, let's think CRMs, right? So problem aware, solution aware. Someone might be aware of a problem like, man, I don't know how to manage all my leads. Like things are falling through the cracks, like, or they're not converting. They'll come with it usually
or they're using a
problem.
spreadsheet, but they don't know what the answer to that is just yet.
Yeah. They might be a little bit solution aware. Like they might be like, oh, I need a CRM, but I'm not really sure what a CRM is. You know what I mean? So that's problem aware and
they don't necessarily know that we offer HubSpot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They might be problem aware and slightly solution aware. But then the next level, right? So say we advertise an ad to them, like communicating, you know, single customer view, no more spreadsheets, no more things falling through the cracks. We're trying to get them problem aware and solution aware. The next level of ad, once they're problem aware and solution aware, would be like a HubSpot calculator, which is something we've developed.
Yeah.
So that'd be a different type of next level of ad. But yeah, let's get straight into the 4 types. I'm sure everyone's dying to sort of hear what these 4 types are. Now, here's the thing. We have tried, like this is a podcast. We don't have the luxury of talking to you, dear listener, and going back and forth and asking about your industry, right? So if we could, we might tweak a little bit. But so we had to be very, very careful. The 4 that we're sharing work. They work. I can almost guarantee that they work if you test it right and you're able to identify with the pain points of your customer, right? If you have a problem and solution, these 4 ads work for almost every single industry. They do skew a little bit towards B2B and long buying cycles, but all 3 of them 3 out of the 4 can be used for B2B and B2C.
Right.
So the first type of ad we call, and by the way, so if you want to actually see examples, I'm sharing my screen. You can watch the video version of this episode, redpandas.com.au/EP181 for episode 181. Otherwise, just listen along. Anyway, the first one is what we call the case study ad. Now, by the way, as I mentioned the 1 or 2, you'll be like, oh, these are really Captain Obvious, Moby, right? Here's the problem. Like people will do one type of ad only. So I want to go back to this point at the end, right? But I want everyone to sort of think about if you are marketing or remarketing rather to your customer and they see these different angles of your business that all lead to one road, how powerful that will be, right? So the first type is case study ad. So
can I add to that quickly? One thing I'll say is if you are currently doing remarketing, go into your ads, have a look at the frequency. If it's above 2, 3 maximum, that means that you need to change your creatives up.
Yeah.
That's what we have.
That's whole ad fatigue, right?
Yeah.
100%. So the first one is one I'm sharing on my screen is with a client of ours called Empire Legal. Shout out to Empire Legal. There's a beautiful image of Kathy there. And what is on the left? So this is the hierarchy of the ad, top to bottom. It's a square ad. Empire Legal X Red Pandas, right? So showing our brand, our logo, and the client. Then it's got 2 key KPIs, right? 100% increase in leads, 50% in revenue, year-on-year growth, call to action, grow with HubSpot. So this is like, and we've created 3 of these different ads. There's an ad also with Fung. Shout out to Fung from AM Visuals.
Who's to the right of us as well.
Yes, he's actually in the room, right? There's one with him. There's Fung, and it's got founder of AM Visuals and 10 hours admin save per week, 2x faster response rates for customers, right? So pretty cool, right? Then we've got another one. Actually, sorry, I don't have it here. I got it in another post somewhere. No, I do. Booper. Booper.
Yep.
2x sales close rate, so double their close rate. 50% saved on reporting, leading to fast decision making. So whether you're listening or watching this, I do think it's worth watching if you want to see the hierarchy of how we've done it. But the point is our logo, client's logo, key metric, call to action.
I think the visual is actually really, really important. So if you are listening to this, make sure that you click on the link or watch the video instead, because you can see ads like this. You see it all the time on your feed, and they're just, because they're business oriented, like it's about our brand, it's about our customers already. There's going to be a level of blindness to them.
Yeah.
So the visual element is actually really, really important. Like try and highlight the features, and you'll see that we've done that on our ad that are important from a hierarchy point of view, like the metrics, the things that they actually care about, the pain points that they're dealing with, the metrics that they want to see improve are highlighted in these creatives, and that's really important. And to addition to that is the call to action. So focus on the things that are important to them, and then the call to action is really important as well.
100%. And by the way, so there is no right or wrong. And again, like, podcasts aren't two-way. I think the key thing is to sort of say that you should have a mix. There's no right or wrong. With this campaign, when we launched this campaign, we actually launched these 3 case studies once. Then we introduced some of the other styles. But it wouldn't be wrong to do like one of each, what I'm about to say, right? Variability is key. So now this is getting really exciting. The next type of ad is so we got the case study ad, right? And that's metric focused. This one is a testimonial ad. It's not to be confused with the case study ad. The case study ad is focused on a metric, a business outcome that you solve for people, right? If you're in solar, it might be electricity power saved. If you're in accounting, it might be money saved or revenue generated or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. It's metric related. That's what it should be called, case study metric related, right? But it's not cool. It's too long of a name. So the next one is testimonial. Yeah. So this is actually like a typical testimonial. You want to make sure that it's not too much text on screen. So the one I'm sharing is quite balanced, and it's got the headline is the part of the quote and the body is the rest of the quote. So the headline, very similar to the first one, it's got logo plus Bupa plus Red Panda's logo. Then it's got, I'm spending more time on actual selling. Then his quote, which is, still part of his quote, I'm spending more and more time on qualified relationships and actually selling to better educated and nurtured prospects. Close quote, grow with HubSpot, his title on the bottom. So see how that's different? So they're both hitting social proof. We have this thing that we've been saying at Red Pandas, and we've been saying this to clients. When you think you've done enough social proof, double it.
Yeah.
Double it, right? So whether it's a landing page, homepage, ad, you might be like, okay, cool, I got a little logo bar. To be honest, I'd say triple it, right? If you just have a logo bar, but you need more. Like, consumers are so skeptical that you need to smash them in the face with, this is all the stuff we've actually done. Yeah. It's not enough. Yeah. One logo bar. If you have one logo bar of clients you've worked with, firstly, everyone kind of knows, like, someone could be a subcontractor of Coca-Cola. They maybe like wrote half an article for them once and they put Coca-Cola on their website.
Absolutely, so they should.
And to be honest, when I started the business, that's what I did too.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better, right?
Yeah.
But like, that's not enough. People know that. And to be honest, there's skepticism too. Like, how easy, like, we don't do this, but Linda, if we put Coca-Cola's logo on our website, by the way, I wouldn't, because #boycott. But if we put Coca-Cola's logo, side note, if we put Coca-Cola's logo on our website, how are they going to know? Yeah. Are they really going to take us down? Yeah. Like, are they really going to be that bothered to be like, hey, Red Pandas, take our logo down? Mm-hmm. If they do, even if they pick up on it, it might be years down the track. The point I'm trying to make is, don't do it. Yeah. The point I'm trying to make, that skepticism that you have, everyone else has as well. Yeah. So be careful about that.
It's so true, isn't it? I mean, there's such a psychological reasoning behind that as well. People don't want to experience buyer's remorse, particularly with long buying cycles. So when they're spending so much time thinking about which decision to make, they don't want to make the wrong one. So like you say, some social proof is good. A lot of social proof is even better. The amount of times I've heard clients come to us and say that they've gone with another agency who in the end had a terrible experience with, but they went with them because they saw so much social proof behind them. Yeah. And I think you and I know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say who it is, but you hear that a lot. So social
use it
proof
to
is
your
so
advantage.
important.
We are hoping that if you're listening, you have good service, right? But use it to advantage, like, if bad companies can do it, you can do it too, Yeah. So the example I'm actually talking about is actually a good example of that, because the first example I shared the case study, the metric case study of Bupa. This is a quote from Bupa, and we also have Bupa on our website. So Bupa's one of those brands where, it's one of Australia's biggest insurance companies. To be honest, we only have a couple of enterprise. We like that small, medium enterprise market. But if you saw that on our website, you're like, yeah, right. Maybe, who knows? But not after you see these ads.
Yeah.
I've got metrics, I've got a quote from him, and I got the logo on the website. There is no way to hide. That is true, So anyway, I know I overdid that one, but it's really, really important, right? So the third type is...
Can I just say on that as well, you may have noticed a trend where all of these ads really are HubSpot focused. And that's another important point here. Is when we're doing remarketing, we want to try and hone in on, and I said earlier, the targeting is really important in terms of not going too broad, but you can even go deeper than that, which is actually focusing on a particular product or service line and targeting those people that are, let's say you're an RTO and you've got childcare on your website. Target the people on your website that have gone to the childcare page, but serve them with remarketing ads about childcare. Don't just give them broad remarketing ads about your business. And you'll see that with our theme here. So this is specifically about HubSpot. We're not going broader than that.
100%, honey. Good point. Thanks for that reminder. That is that thread you'll notice here. Like if there's probably 2-3 categories of services we do, but if you had to put us in 2 buckets, it's like HubSpot and digital marketing. So if we were going to focus on digital marketing, we would do the same strategy, but yes, very focused on digital marketing outcomes. Whereas these are all focused on problem aware, solution aware outcomes for CRM and HubSpot. Yeah, so spot on. It has to be that same thread. So the third one, so we spoke about case study with metrics. Second one, we spoke about testimonials. The third one is the logo ad. It's literally called the logo ad. And again, we are just smashing. Now remember, the topic today is remarketing, remarketing ads, right? When people do the tab test, and if they filled out your form, please expect them to have filled out the forms of 2 other businesses, at least. At least. So funny, when I don't do sales coaching anymore, but when I used to do it, I'd sometimes jump on calls and the people I used to sales coach, I'd be like, oh, they're speaking to 1 or 2 other people, right? And that I noticed it would unsettle them when the customer said that they're speaking, or they'd go defensive. So that's how I knew it was unsettling to them. When the customer mentions, they'll say something like, oh, just to be honest with you, or just to be frank with you, reached out to 2 other people. And then their energy would change. So I could tell it affected them. And what I've said to them, I'm like, do you think they're the only ones who actually do the tab test and the only ones who actually speak to other people just because they said it? You need to expect all of your customers to do that. Don't be naive, right?
Yeah.
So that's not to freak you out, like, oh, they're speaking to everyone. But the point is, like, when they do the tab test and then you remarket to them and you are smashing them with the ads we're talking about, that's where the difference is made. So this ad is the logo ad. And if you can see my screen, you'll see this time it actually has red pandas on the top and it's got a USP, and that could be whatever unique selling point that is yours. Try to make it a unique selling point. Try not to make it like a little bit generic. And the test, if it's generic, is could that be applied to another business or another industry? Then it's too generic. Like, innovative outcomes, customer first. That is every man and his dog. And that's too generic.
Yeah.
So
the
this one's got a tag.
good thing with this type of ad as well is, like, from a marketing angle, this can work really well hand in hand with the sales process as well, because you'll often find that you've and Mobes, I'm sure you can give insight here, like you might have done a sales pitch and everything was really good, and then they got busy and they fell through the cracks, and
100%.
they know you exist, they love you, they want the product, but life got busy and they didn't end up signing the dotted line. So in combination with the sales follow-ups that will happen, them seeing these remarketing ads, if you're targeting the right people, can work really well to be like, hey, we're still here, and trigger that, oh, I have to actually get to that.
It's one of those 8, 9, 10 touch points we talk about. And 100%, the key thing is that make sure you're doing the follow-ups too, the sales follow-ups.
Yeah.
So it's got the logo, it's got a USP, which is not just HubSpot experts. We understand sales, marketing, and leads. And sales, marketing, and leads are in a different color because we just wanted to sort of, just distinguish those. And then it's got 3 rows of logos. Not 1, not 2. Funnily enough, when our designer did it, there was 2. I'm like, nah, add a 3rd. Like, I need to smash
that social proof.
Yeah, we are smashing social proof. SPP, hashtag, It's so old now.
The boys.
The boys. So we've got all these. I'm not even going to bother reading them out. We've got 3 rows. There's 3 rows. There's like, I don't know, 12, 18 logos there. Then it's got learn more. So I love that one. The final one, and to be honest, like this is probably the one that people will often do, but they will only do this type. They'll only do one of these and they'll leave it there. And what I'm talking about is a brand unique USP ads. I left it to the end because it is the one that you're probably already doing, where there's a tagline and, you know, that's probably it, right? Again, same rule applies. Try to do more than one USP and add social proof. So this one here is turn HubSpot from cost center to growth platform.
I love this problem solution, all in like 5, 6, 7 words.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
so good.
digestible in, 2-3 seconds.
Yeah.
HubSpot cost center to growth platform. This is targeted specifically to people who already have HubSpot and they're not getting the most out of it. It's not targeted to someone who's just looking brand new. But it could hit them as well. But the point is, back to Linda's point, is for a specialized audience who is looking for that. Now, again, if that's too kind of niche and cut up for you, even if you do the 4 types for your high level business, it's going to be a good place to start. So then it's got social proof, right? Again, if you're watching the video, redpandas.com.au/EP181, you'll see this, but otherwise it's got the headline, then it's got more social proof. It's got reviewed on HubSpot. It's got 5 stars and it says 60 plus 5-star reviews. Then it's got a HubSpot badge, and that badge only means something to someone if they know HubSpot. Then it's got grow with HubSpot.
God,
right?
the brand looks good in this.
It looks really nice. So that's our new brand guidelines too, if you guys want to sort of see it. So we are just some SSP, smashing social proof, right? Even here, there's still social proof. Even though it's about us, it's still about you, customer, right? Then I've just got another variation. So it's a very, very similar format. It's slightly different color, but the USP is different. Not just HubSpot tacticians. We turn HubSpot into growth engines. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we've covered the case study ad with metrics. So 1, 2, 3 key metrics on screen, right? Metric case study ads. Then we've got the testimonial ad. We've got the logo ad. And then finally, your brand USP ads.
Nice. That's mad. Main takeaway, SSP.
That's right. Made the SSP. And the whole point is like balance that a little bit. So if you're in our region and you're interested, reach out to us. You can just Google that and figure that out yourself. But depending on your business, like you could either do like one of each. Again, we did 3 of the case studies, then we launched the others. But it really doesn't matter. If you're kind of approaching this new and you've done a bad job today, then just start with that variability first and it will do you wonders. But that's all we've got time for today, Linda.
Beautiful. Thanks, Mopes.
See you guys next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Inbound Buzz. Learn anything? Return the favor by spreading the word. Want to make your mark in digital? Need help with your digital strategy, inbound, and marketing automation efforts? Then visit redpandas.com.au and be sure to tune in next time for another Inbound Buzz hit.